POV. You are 22 years old. You are standing on the precipice of the rest of your life, and you are vibrating with main character energy. You are wearing that polyester graduation gown that costs more than your monthly food budget, and you are holding a piece of paper that certifies you can read, write, and follow instructions. You feel powerful. You feel infinite. You feel like the protagonist of a movie where everything works out in the end. But listen to me, and listen closely, because the background music of your movie is about to switch from an inspiring orchestral swell to the Jaws theme song. You are walking into a trap laid by your parents, your teachers, your guidance counselors, and every Follow Your Dreams poster you saw in high school. They gaslit you. They told you that money is secondary. They told you that if you do what you love, the money will follow. They told you to prioritize culture and learning over cold, hard cash. That advice is not just wrong, it is financial malpractice. It is a psyop designed to create a permanent underclass of happy, broke workers. While you are busy romanticizing your dream job that pays in vibes and exposure, the mathematical reality of capitalism is quietly plotting your extinction. You are about to make a decision that seems small, a choice between two job offers, but that decision is a butterfly effect that will summon a hurricane to destroy your 40s. You didn't just pick a low salary. You triggered a glitch in the simulation that deletes over $1 million from your future net worth. You think I'm being dramatic? You think I'm tweaking? Let me break down the physics of this car crash. Welcome to the rug pull of the century. Let's set the scene. Meet Passion Pat. Pat is a good kid. Pat got a 3.8 GPA. Pat was the treasurer of the philosophy club. Pat has a degree in interdisciplinary studies, or maybe graphic design for nonprofits. Pat wants to make a difference. Pat wants to wake up every morning feeling inspired. Pat stands at the crossroads of destiny with two offer letters in hand. In the left hand, we have option A, the corporate sellout. It's a junior analyst role at a logistics firm that moves cardboard boxes from point A to point B. It pays $85,000 a year. It comes with a 401k match, full dental, and a boss named Gary who wears pleated khakis and talks exclusively about synergy and quarterly KPIs. It is boring. It is soulless. It is the definition of the matrix. Pat looks at it and physically recoils. I can't be a cog in the machine, Pat whispers. Then, there is option B, the dream job. It's a community coordinator role at a trendy startup that makes eco-friendly dog toys, or maybe it's a nonprofit saving the spotted owl. The office is a converted warehouse with exposed brick walls. There is a ping pong table. There is a neon sign on the wall that says hustle and heart. The team is young. They wear hoodies. They use Slack emojis. The vibes are immaculate. But the salary? $35,000. Maybe $40 if you negotiate hard. That is poverty wages with a PR budget. That is less money than you would make managing a shift at a gas station. But it comes with a cool job title. Pat looks at the money and shrugs. I don't care about the bag, Pat says, reciting the script they were taught. I care about the mission. I care about the culture. The money will catch up later once I prove my value. Pat signs the contract for option B. Pat posts a photo of the new desk on Instagram with the caption, New Beginnings. Remo le Dream. Pat thinks this is a power move. Pat thinks they have hacked the system. In reality, Pat just signed a death warrant for their future financial freedom. Pat is clinically delulu. Let's fast forward. It is now 3 years later. The honeymoon phase isn't just over. It was murdered behind the building. The vibes at the cool office have evaporated. The ping pong table is broken, and nobody plays anymore because everyone is too exhausted from doing the work of 3 people. The unlimited PTO turned out to be a scam, where if you take a day off, you get shamed for not being a team player. And the economy? The economy decided to wake up and choose absolute violence. Inflation has entered the chat like a wrecking ball. The cost of existence has skyrocketed. Your rent went up 20% because market rates, eggs cost as much as Bitcoin. The phantom tax on just being alive is suffocating you. That $35,000 salary? In real economic terms, it is now worth $25,000 in purchasing power compared to 3 years ago. You are literally working for free. You are subsidizing the company's mission with your own poverty. Now let's look at the other timeline. The timeline where you took the boring job. Let's look at corporate Chad. Chad is Pat's college roommate. Chad was a C student. Chad has the personality of a damp towel. Chad took the job with Gary the boss. Chad hated it. Chad complained every day about the spreadsheets. But here is the difference. Chad started at $85,000. Chad lived like a broke student for 2 years and saved the difference. Chad put 20 grand a year into the S&P 500 while the market was down. Chad got a standard 3% raise every year, which on 85 grand is actual money. Then Chad job hopped. Because Chad had a boring corporate title, recruiters took him seriously. Chad moved to a competitor for $110,000. Chad is now buying a starter home. Chad is driving a leased Audi. Chad is going on vacations that don't involve sleeping on a friend's couch. Pat looks at Chad's Instagram stories and feels a pit in their stomach. Pat is eating instant ramen for the 5th night in a row, scrolling through LinkedIn, wondering where it all went wrong. The envy isn't petty, it's existential. Pat realizes that passion doesn't pay for therapy, and cool vibes are not legal tender at the grocery store. The math isn't mathing. You are cooked, you are deep fried, you are burnt toast. But wait, it gets worse. Let me explain the mechanism of your destruction. It's not just about the monthly cash flow, it is about the salary anchor. Think of your career trajectory like a rocket launch. The most energy is burned in the first few minutes to escape gravity. If you launch with a full tank of fuel, that high base salary, you reach orbit, you escape the gravity of poverty. Every future raise, every bonus, every 401k match is calculated as a percentage of that initial base number. A 10% bonus on 100,000 is 10 grand. A 10% bonus on 30,000 is 3 grand. Over a 40-year career, this doesn't just add up, it compounds explosively. It's the difference between retiring on a yacht and retiring in a cardboard box. But Pat launched with a half-empty tank. Pat chose the passion rocket. It sputtered, lifted 3 feet off the ground, ran out of fuel, and crashed sideways into the dirt. Pat is now stuck on the ground, trying to jump to reach the moon. It's physically impossible. You didn't just lose wages, you lost leverage. In the corporate world, your value is determined by what someone else was willing to pay you yesterday. If you were paid peanuts yesterday, the market assumes you are a monkey today. You are anchored to the floor while the ceiling keeps moving higher. You are playing a rigged game where the final score was decided in the first inning. So Pat decides to fight back. Pat decides to bail. Pat thinks, I have 3 years of experience now. I have worn many hats. I have hustle. I will go get a corporate job now. Pat updates the resume. Pat puts on a suit that is slightly too tight because stress eating is real. Pat walks into an interview at a big boring company. Across the desk sits the gatekeeper, the HR recruiter, a shark in a blazer. The interview goes well. Pat is charming. Pat is smart. But then the shark asks the question that kills the soul. The shark asks, what is your current salary expectation? Or worse, what are you currently making? Pat freezes. Pat knows the game. If Pat says 35,000, the shark smells blood. The shark knows they can offer 45,000, and Pat will think it's a fortune. If Pat lies and says 80,000, the shark will check references and see the lie. So Pat whispers the truth. I'm currently at roughly 40. The shark smiles. It's a predator's smile. They know they got you. They offer Pat 50,000. They frame it as a massive 25% raise. They act like they are doing Pat a favor. Pat takes it, because Pat is starving. Pat is desperate. But guess what? The guy sitting next to Pat, who started at 80, he just got hired for 120. Pat is doing the same work, sitting in the same row, for less than half the price. That is the loyalty tax combined with the passion penalty. You are branded as cheap labor. And once you are branded as cheap, it takes a decade of miracles to wash that stamp off your forehead. The psychological toll is the final nail in the coffin. You start to internalize your salary. You start to believe you are only worth 40 grand. You stop applying for the big roles because you think you aren't qualified. You develop coffee boy syndrome. You get used to doing the grunt work. You get used to being the one who orders the lunch, not the one who eats it. Meanwhile, Chad, who is objectively dumber than you, walks around with the unearned confidence of a man who is never worried about rent. Chad fails upward. You struggle sideways. You look at your bank account and you see a ghost town. You look at your credit card and you see a mountain of debt accrued just to survive. You realize that your dream job was actually a subscription service. You were paying a monthly subscription fee of potential future earnings in exchange for the privilege of saying you worked there. And the subscription was too expensive. You canceled your future to pay for your present ego. So what is the play? How do you escape the matrix before it digests you? Listen to me. You need to kill the passion narrative immediately. Stop being an NPC in your own economy. Stop letting employers pay you in learning experiences, exposure, and good energy. You cannot eat energy. Your landlord does not accept vibes as payment. Here is the strategy. Secure the bag first. Get the boring job. Get the highest number on that offer letter possible. Be a mercenary. Sell your soul for the first 5 years. Build the leverage. Build the savings. Max out the 401k. Get the boring title that recruiters love. Once you have the capital, once you have the freedom, once you have a net worth that allows you to tell your boss to go to hell, then and only then do you pivot to passion. You use your money to fund your dreams. You don't use your dreams to fund your poverty. Flip the script. Make the system pay for your art. Don't pay the system with your suffering. Look, I get it. We all want to save the world. We all want to be artists. We all want to feel special. But you know what's hard to do when you're broke? Everything. It is hard to be creative when you are hungry. It is hard to change the world when you can't afford a bus ticket.
Money is not evil. Money is fuel. Money is options. Money is the ability to walk away from a toxic situation without ruining your life. By choosing the passion route too early, you gave away your fuel. You stranded yourself in the desert. So here is the harsh truth to take home. The world does not care about your potential. It cares about your leverage. Your first job is not your identity. It is not who you are. It is an investor. It is the seed capital for the business of you Inc. If you accept a bad investor who takes 90% of your equity for zero cash, you go bankrupt. Don't plant a weed and expect a money tree. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking poverty is noble. There is nothing noble about stress. There is nothing noble about shrinking your life to fit a small paycheck. They say money can't buy happiness. Sure, that's a cute sticker to put on a laptop, but I have checked the data, and I would rather cry in the back of a Mercedes with heated seats than laugh on a bicycle in a thunderstorm while a bus splashes mud on my face. Secure the bag. Stay toxic. Stay solvent. And for the love of God, lie about your current salary in the next interview. Class dismissed. Class dismissed.